A long time ago in a land far away, there was a young man who was running for his life. He had lied to his father, cheated his brother, disappointed his mother, and his life was in grave danger. And as he was running, he was out in the middle of the country, all by himself. And he was worried about running into robbers. He was worried about getting lost. He was worried about running out of supplies. But most off, he was worried about losing God. You see, he had this voice of accusation in his head saying, "You're a liar. You're a deceiver. You're a disappointment. You are no good. God is done with you." And as Jacob lay down to sleep that night, the darkness that surrounded him in the middle of the country was also darkness that was inside of his heart. You see, he thought that he had committed that unpardonable sin. He had blown it. And now God was going to reject him forever. And as he pulled a rock up to be his pillow that night, and as he fell asleep, he slept the sleep of a man in great despair who has no hope. And in the middle of the night, he had this dream where it was bright, and he looked up, and there was this stairway, this ladder that went straight to the throne of God and came all the way down to the rock that he rested on. And he saw these angels coming up and down the ladder, and they were so full of joy, and in their hands were blessings of hope and love and encouragement and truth. And somehow Jacob, in that dream, realized that his sins could not stop that ladder, that his badness couldn't topple it over, that the darkness in his heart could not stop those angels from coming down. And when he woke up, he realized that the place he was sleeping was holy ground. He realized that God loved him despite his sins. And Jacob confessed his sin. He said, "God, I'm so sorry. I don't want to live a life of deceit anymore." He let go of the guilt. He let go of the sinful behavior. And Jacob was not perfect for the rest of his life. But he didn't hold on to that guilt. Man, what are we holding on to? Are we holding on to guilt for a thing that we've done that we know we shouldn't? Are we holding on to panic and stress living in a world wrapped up with a virus? Are we holding on to bitterness and anger because someone treated us wrong, someone betrayed us, someone lied to us, someone put us down and broke our hearts? What are we holding on to? Like Jacob, we need to lay down and put our head on the rock. Jesus says, "I am the rock of ages." The hymn says he's the rock of ages. Psalms 144 says, "Praise be to the Lord, my rock." And when we rest on him, we'll realize that there's a ladder of angels with hands full of blessings, and they want to put them in our hands. But if we're holding on to our sins or rage or bitterness or despair or stress and anxiety or fear, we cannot take the blessings that those angels are bringing to us. So many people wonder, where is God? Why isn't he here? Why isn't he blessing us? And they're holding this huge burden that's just piled up over them. And they can't see anything because they're holding on to that burden. And Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." But we can't take his rest if we're holding on to the burdens. We can't take his forgiveness if we're holding on to the guilt. We can't take his love if we're holding on to fear and hatred and selfishness. God blessed Jacob so much gave him a wonderful family. He gave him wealth. He gave him a long life. And Jacob had troubles. But at the end of his life, when Jacob was literally limping, people looked at him and they could see that he was a friend of God. You see, Jesus doesn't promise that we won't limp through this life. He doesn't promise that we won't have troubles. But he says, I will never leave you. Even to the end of the age, I will never leave you. That ladder of blessing will follow you. We just have to be open to receive it. So friend, today I encourage you to let go of that darkness. You know what it is. Let it go. And when we empty our hands of whatever evil we've been holding on to, then the blessings will come and we'll be able to hold them. And they will bring us comfort and light. And then we can share those blessings with other people. We can take the hope that Jesus gives us and give it to someone else. The love that Jesus gives us and give it to someone else. You see, so many Christians feel this burden to just be spiritual and hopeful and happy and witness and all this Christian stuff, and they just can't do it because they're holding on to their burdens, and Jesus can't give them the light. But when they let go of those burdens, Jesus gives them light that they just turn around and give away. And it's effortless to give what God gives you. That's why some of us have the gift of leadership, or of preaching, or of serving, or of encouraging, or of healing. And none of us have that gift deep down inside of ourselves. That gift comes from God. And when we open up the channel and He fills us, then boom, we can give it right back. I didn't plan this talk. God said, talk about Jacob. So I started talking. Because God is saying, I'm going to give you a blessing to give other people. Now, I need to hear exactly what I'm saying, just like you do. But I want you to see what God is doing in this talk right now, how He is blessing me to bless you, because that's what He wants to do for your life. And He says, all right, let go of that thing you're holding on to. Let go of it so I can fill you with your gift, with your blessing, so you can turn around and give that gift and blessing away. Because God is love, and love is giving, selfless giving. And when He fills you, you become a selfless giver. And then life is great because you start to come alive. You feel that passion that you've always wanted to feel. You feel like you've got something worthwhile to give, and you can hear God speak in your spirit. That is my prayer for you today, friend. Let go of the darkness. God will fill you with the light, and then you will shine. God bless.